All right, I'm here with my buddy Rowdy. Rowdy is a 5-year-old, we're gonna say Lab Border Collie mix. We don't know exactly what he is, but he is a little bit of a fearful dog and especially doesn't like it when people get up and move around. In this video, we're gonna go over how you can use counter conditioning to help a dog start to see a behavior or an action more likely as a good thing instead of a negative thing. Now, I'm going to talk about this first, and then I'm going to demonstrate it. So Rowdy does not like it when the mail carrier comes. So the mail carrier comes, he can hear the sound of the mailbox being opened, and probably can hear the mail carrier as he's walking down. So when he hears that sound, he barks and rushes towards the door, correct? And he's all kinds of unhappy. And then he barks, and as he's barking, the mail carrier puts the mail in and then walks away. Now, he thinks that his barking made the carrier run away. In actuality, the carrier is going to walk away anyways. It's just a coincidental thing, and this is how a lot of dogs develop a lot of unwanted behavior problems. Now, Rowdy is nervous around and anxious about certain activities. So I'm going to stand up here in a second. It's probably going to cause him to react. And I'm going to, while he's reacting, when he's calming down, then we're going to talk about how we can do the mailbox. So I want to make sure he's looking at me before I do this, so I don't catch him by surprise. Surprised. Are you going to bark at me? Like, I'll do it if you want to. That was really good. Now, I just took him for a walk, which probably should have done after this video. Normally, standing up is something that Rowdy barks at, and so I'm going to pantomime this. But before I do that, I'm going to talk about what I want the guardians to do with the mailbox. The mailbox is outside the house, correct? Is it a slot that goes in the house, or just
stuck on the side of the house?
Okay. Yeah. So basically, it makes a sound. So what you want to do is my two tests: can I get the dog to sit? Ironically, and can I get the dog to take a treat? And if we want to do either one of those two things, it's the stimulus, in this case the sound, is too close or too intense. So the way I lower the intensity of that is I increase the distance, slow down the speed, or turn down the volume. In this case, we could do this. I love the fact that he's just dialed into those treats. We could do this by moving further away from the location of the mailbox. So what we want to do is make sure that there's nothing going. Also look at our environment. Sometimes somebody's using a weed eater over here. There's a crying baby over there. There's a beeping or a fire alarm. Those things can be a trigger, and they can actually kind of muddy up the waters. And now we're dealing with multiple things. So if it is a situation where none of those things are going on, what you want to do is have one person outside, and I would do this when you're talking to each other with your earbuds or on the phone. And the timing of this needs to be really, really crisp. So what I would do is and I do counter conditioning a little bit different to start off with. So if he hears the sound, most dogs are going to run towards it. So what I do is I flip the order for the first about 5 times. So what I would do is have you give him a treat, and then the person outside flips the lid. So he's got the treat in his mouth when he hears the lid for about 3 to 5 times. Then after that, this is crucially important. Then you need to flip it. Then we do the sound, and then after the sound, then Rowdy gets the treat. So now the sound becomes an indicator that I'm about to get a treat. So instead of looking at it as a negative, I look at it as a positive. Now you might have to be like 25 feet away from the door when you're first doing this. And you want to keep doing this until and he cannot react. And that is one of the biggest things when it comes to counter conditioning. If the dog reacts, it's too intense. You're too close, you push too far. So let's say we can find 20 feet away from away from the door, and that's where he'll sit and take the treat. So we give him a treat, we flip the mailbox, and then give another treat, flip the mailbox closed. We do that about 4 treats. Then we do it, and we tell that person outside closes the mailbox, then we give them a treat. Now you can assign a command word if you want. You don't necessarily need to, but if you're going to just assign the command word, you assign the command word before the stimulus happens. So basically, and at 20 paces, you want to there's something called 5 for 5 when it comes to behavior work. You want the dog to do it 5 times in a row, 5 different practice sessions. That might be a little bit much for this, but going slow and steady is much better. You want to build success on top of success and no failures. So let's say 5 times in a row, I get the dog we open it, and then he gets the treat, and he doesn't do any reaction. Then I go to 1 step closer, so now I'm 19 feet away from it, and we repeat the process. When I get to the point, let's say when I get to 15, I can't get him to sit. Well, then he's saying I'm too close to that thing. So we back up to 16 feet, we practice 1 or 2 times in a success, and then and then after that, you do something he really likes. Give him a belly rub, take him for a walk. We want to kind of end the activity with something he really likes, so he's more likely to want to do it. If you feel that you're getting frustrated or the dog gets frustrated, get a good one in and stop, or if you can't get a good one in, just stop. Because the dog will sense that you're frustrated and will not want to do the activity again. The whole point is to make this a positive, happy thing. Now, what I'm also going to do is, he doesn't like when people stand, and this is kind of my own little riff on this. So basically what I do is, and I talk to the guardians about this off camera, is I break things down in individual steps. So if I stand up, there we go. So that was, I had to get a little bit more motion to get him to do this. And this is kind of residual. This is what his memory and this is his neural pathways and everything else. But I took him for a walk, and the more you do those walks, the more benefit you'll get. I kind of had to spoil it here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down the activity into small steps. Now, we have the Guardian here. He's got a treat pouch. He's got really high-value training treats. So go ahead and ask Rowdy the SIT.
Rowdy, sit.
There you go. All right, so go and give him that treat. Remember, you want to give him the treat within 2 seconds max, but the sooner you get that treat to him, the faster. So 1/3 of 1 second should be your goal. All right, so have a treat in your hand. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and give him the treat. And grab another one. So all I did is I leaned forward. It's part of the process of me standing up. So I want him to see that little motion without the whole culmination of everything. So I'm going to do it again. I lean forward, lean back, he gets a treat. Now I'm going to lean forward and rise a little bit.
Just about missed that one.
And that's a good, really important point. If he's only looking at the Guardian when I stand up, then the Guardian should not give him a treat. He needs to look at me, otherwise he's not really learning anything. Now, he doesn't have to sit, but right now if you see his body language, it's a little bit of a warm day, but he's breathing heavy. This can be stressful for the dog, and I think this is more stress than anything else. Well, probably stress and a little bit of being calm. And so if you see that, that's an indicator that he's not fully comfortable. We'd like to have him do it with normal breathing. All right, so let's try that again. So I pushed too far, and there was a little bit of reaction, so we're not going to give him a treat for that one. So now I'm just going to go back to this one, treat. And try not to say good boy. Treat. That was great. You saw he turned away on his own. That you could treat. He looked a little bit. Saw it out of the peripheral. I'm trying to look at him without giving him direct eye contact. Love it. So he's already starting to see David's rising up means I'm about to get a treat. Instead of protesting, I should like this activity. I love positive dog training. Now if you notice my motion, I was rising up very steady and slow. You want to avoid really sudden jerky movements. Go ahead, give him a treat. Now we set him up for success. This is the end of a 3-hour session. So we've been at this for about 2.5 hours. So he's tired from that. It's a hot day, then outside. I took him for a walk together, so that kind of set it up. I wouldn't do the walk for this activity, but find friends or neighbors that you can have come over and practice this. Now, one other thing about dogs that's really important to understand, dogs do not generalize well. So if I only practice this here, you could eventually have people stand up here and he's fine, but if somebody stands up over there, he'll freak out. So each time the guest comes over, have them sit in a different place, over here, over there. So he just sees people standing up is a good thing. You can do this for any activity your dog doesn't like. Let's say it's a sound of the UPS truck. Go outside. It's Amazon Prime Day is coming up. Just go outside with your phone and have it recorder ready to go. As soon as the truck, record it. What you can do then is go inside, and now this is again an easier level of stimulus. We played it like volume 2. Here's the truck pull up, but it's not loud enough and the fidelity's not great, so he doesn't actually react. We give him a treat. And we do that a bunch of times, then we raise it to volume 4, volume 8. Eventually it sounds like the UPS truck is driving through your house, and Rowdy's like, who is here to hook me up with a treat? Again, positive dog training. All right, so for your mailbox, I think I described that, but I've done this with all sorts of different sight sounds. It could be with the visual of something, the sound of something, or the presence of something. So for people, what I noticed is he didn't like people moving their arms around a lot. That might be something you do. People standing up. He also doesn't like direct eye contact. Now off camera, I'm going to show them a focus exercise that they can practice, which is also an operant conditioning exercise we'd eventually like to have your friends doing with the dog as well. All right, well, this is Rowdy. See how slowly he's coming? See how that back leg is back? That's a little indication he came to me, which is a huge step for him. But he wasn't fully comfortable, so I did not try to pet him. So when you have people come over, the best thing that they can do is ignore him. They shouldn't look at him, talk to him, or try to pet him. You can toss the treats on the ground like we talked about, but everything else, just let him kind of come to people at his own speed. Well, this is my buddy Rowdy, and these are some tips and tricks you can use if you have a dog that's reactive to people standing up or the mailbox making a sound or anything else.